Good day and welcome to Obidate Family TV, the program where we dey enter and hope are alive. Yes, hope day. All obedience worldwide agree to na wherever on a day, on a good morning, afternoon, and evening. All join. I want make una know say hope dey well because today we discover some things wey be say we dey talk before, but more discovery dey now wey be say if this very particular election wey dem dey talk about, say they must give us our mandate back. They must give us our... We don uncover sections wey be say we dey talk before, but when we dey talk am, we no dey too look am well. But now we don see say that very transmission of results wey we dey talk, no be only say e dey mandatory. E get another thing wey be say e dey follow am. That one we go bring am come. Then e get the talk wey be say our PO don talk today. And that very talk wey e talk, e dey very sad. Im talk say e no dey happy at all for wetin dey happen for Nigeria. That talk dey come on at this very hour. Again, another thing wey we dey bring again to come, na that very thing where people they talk everywhere, then they carry the issue of Niger Republic. They confuse us, make we no pay attention to waiting there for courts. But as we dey wait for judgment, our eyes there for judiciary. I want tell obedience, make them for pay attention as things they unfold. Make them no take the matter of Niger Republic and the attack when they want attack Niger Republic. They confuse people. I don't hear many people wey be say then they talk make I call them whether wetin then they call them as people wey say then they carry news for everywhere. The one wey be say they false, the one wey no good, they don't talk say constitution go carry Tinubu give them another 4 years sake of say if Nigeria dey for war, na im be say Tinubu go spend another 4 years. Make una no listen to these people. No listening to them. The reason why we are not going to listen, that very section of the constitution, they're very clear. Now, democratically elected president, now in that one they happen to. Tinubu matter still dey court. And as he dey court, if they nullify the election for, or as we dey wait the judgment now, now Tinubu go still dey in charge, no being go dey in charge. See the section of the constitution where then they talk. Make una for see am for screen. They said if the federation is at war in which the territory of Nigeria is physically involved and the president consider that it is not practicable to hold elections, the National Assembly may by resolution extend the period of 4 years mentioned in subsection 2 of this section from time to time, but not so extension shall exceed a period of 6 months at any one time. Now, wetin this section they talk about, now the president will be say dem don elect am already, will be say no get issue for court. Tinubu get issue for court, and the election still dey challenged. So if the judgment come out, im go come out, no be im go superintend after this thing wey be say im go come out. So this section where everybody dey talk online no go work. E no go work for am. Now the person wey be say dem don elect, dem don finish im matter, talk say na im be the president, the gongo wey go stay. So abeg, make una discontinence this thing where they talk, where they go around say im wan use this very war to stay, when one start with Niger Republic, make him for stay another 4 years, making the extend am as im wan do. No be like that. Make una discontinence am, because constitution no give am that, except if this judgment wey we dey expect come to the contrary. But we dey expect say this judgment wey we dey expect from tribunal go give us our mandate back. So if he give us our mandate back, no be him be the person wey be say he go stand for the election, because our demand be say make dem disqualify am. If dem disqualify am, he no go even participate for the election wey we wan do. Not talk less of this. And that very one wey be say they wan wage, we dey against am. The one wey be say they wan go with Niger, we dey against am, because e no go. Our people dey suffer now everywhere. Hardship dey everywhere. And Tinubu dey still comot. They talk say in dey bring a renewed hope for Nigeria. But we for here we dey talk say na renewed hopelessness na im dey bring come for Nigeria. Anybody wey talk say na hope na im dey get make him comot for im house enter whether even Okada or make he enter road make him for here as the thing dey take dey waka for Naija. With that very one make I enter the matter wey be say e follow us comot today. Make we start with wetin PO tell us as im no dey happy with wetin dey happen for Nigeria. Make we start with that very one because im talk say im dey sad, and when im dey sad make we find something wey be say we obedience go do make our own principal no dey sad. Make he say today I was saddened to hear that GlaxoSmithKline, that is one pharmaceutical company wey dey for Lagos wey be big, he say is exiting Nigeria after 51 years of operation. Their reason for leaving Nigeria is even more disheartening. They no longer perceive a prospect for the country as a business environment that could be anchored on productivity. He said, we have painfully come to that point in our nation's journey where multinationals are leaving the country and the local ones are closing down. These are some of the consequences of the cumulative poor management of our economy. As a result, millions are losing their jobs and our poverty index is worsening. Even though we are already being perceived as the world's poverty capital, the multinationals that are leaving our country have not only created jobs but have created immeasurable training that contributed immensely to our human capital development over the years. Now they are leaving our shores one after the other. JSK, which has a manufacturing facility in Agbara, Ogun State, on over 25 hectares of land, had directly employed over 400 highly technical workers like pharmacists, microbiologists, biochemists, chemists and dentists, doctors, etc. Also employed over 1,000 staff. It indirectly provided jobs and business opportunities for thousands of Nigerians across the nation. They are now leaving all this behind and pushing more people back into unemployment. I have consistently maintained that in turning our nation around, we must move the economy from consumption to production, part of which included encouraging and supporting local and foreign investment like JSK in the country. The creation of an environment that creates and sustains multinationals to invest in our country is key to our dream of greatness. In the new Nigeria that we seek to create, the emphasis on production will encourage investors to stay and expand on our shores. Our people will keep their jobs and grow their prosperity. Signed, PO. So now don't see how our own Peter Obi, His Excellency, take talk, how this thing they take sadden am, how in take no feel happy today. Our principal no dey happy because of wetin dey happen for the country. When we dey talk say multinational companies dey comot, we dey hear say one wan start with our neighboring wey be say na our brothers and sisters wey be say dem dey close to us wey be Niger Republic. How that one go encourage investors to come enter Nigeria, begin invest, and then talk say na renewed hope? For where fuel price don pass 600 naira go up, where dollar to $1 don dey reach 900, dem talk say na hope. And some people still dey go for comment section, dey talk say Nigeria go better. Which kind hope be that one? Some people be say dem no just get, but make we take wetin be say go give gladness to our principal, our Peter Obi, make we know say hope dey, as im dey always tell us say hope dey. And that thing na wetin dey happen for the combined reading of these sections of our Electoral Act 2022. Make we even start am with that very section wey be section 47. Make una dey understand the thing about electronic transmission. We don't talk about transmission, transfer and all of that. But I won't make una for understand say e get certain things wey be say when you combine everything wey be say dem talk there, una go know say e get some things wey dey very very easy. A combined reading of section 47 section 52, 65, 64, 4 to 8 of the Act, and if you can come join am with clause 38 and 48 of the regulations and guidelines, it will show you that e-transmission of election results from the polling unit is mandatory and not directory. That non-compliance with the requirement will be a ground for nullifying an election conducted under the Act, depending on the non-compliance. I go tell una the parliamentary, which is the legislative supremacy as a constitutional law. That is the concept. Now I want to tell una. It postulates that legislature possesses absolute sovereignty to make laws, and that for this purpose, the legislature is supreme over all government institutions as far as lawmaking is concerned, including the executive and judiciary. Then pass them, and then be the people who say them they make the law. And now the law now we they talk about. It also holds that the legislature reserve the right or discretion to make law, change, or repeal any previous legislation as may deem necessary. Now people wey dey National Assembly, now then they tackle that one. That is for purposes of lawmaking. The legislature is not bound to adopt format or content in anything law or precedent. So National Assembly as dem dey, now them be the major people, which is the electoral law. Now them be the people wey say dem do am. So I won't make you now follow me. Check wetin dem talk before we begin to go wetin be the guideline wey dem prescribe, wey be say INEC go follow according to wetin INEC wan do. Now the regulations and guidelines was made by INEC and the executive body, which is the presidency, pursuant to powers given to it by the Act of Parliament. Now the same Parliament now dem give them to make that very this thing wey dem do, the regulation. Now the Electoral Act was made by the Parliament, and the application of the concept of legislative supremacy is that where any segment of the regulations and guideline is found to be inconsistent with a provision of the import of a provision of the Act, the latter must prevail, meaning the Act itself must prevail. Yes. In presenting clause 48 and 9 of the regulations, which is the INEC regulations, and guidelines as guide for reliance on manual collation in absence of the e-transmitted version of results, one must ensure to call one's attention to the legal import of the superior provisions of section 64(4) to 8 of the Electoral Act, which leaves no one in doubt that the necessity of the e-transmitted version in the entire collation process. If one thinks that clause 48C and 93 of the regulations and guidelines envisage a situation in which the e-transmitted version and the manually collated version may be absent or non-existent, then it is respectfully submitted here that clause 93 is inconsistent with the provisions of section 64 subsection 4 to 8 of the Electoral Act, which clearly does not envisage any situation in which the e-transmitted version may be absent. Let us have that very section 64 displayed on the screen so that we can, continue the steps. That very section is very clear. And what I'm trying to bring here is make we understand them. Say everything that the people of the National Assembly, when they amended this very law from 2010 to 2022, the reason why they amended it is to enshrine inside of that section, that Electoral Act, the electronic transmission of results. Here, this very section will be 64. They always confuse people when they say, then they talk about collation. Now, where it talks say, where during collation of results, there is a dispute regarding a collated result or the result of an election from any polling unit, the collation officer or returning officer shall use the following to determine the correctness of the disputed result. Make una note say, na collation then they talk about. And at this point, this section is not talking anything about the transmission of results. It say, A, the original of the disputed collated result for each polling unit where the election is disputed. Then B, the smart card reader or any other technology device used for the accreditation of voters in each polling unit where the election is disputed for the purposes of obtaining accreditation data directly from the smart card and reader technology. Let's look at section 47 because I want us to look at it from the transmission. This very place is talking about collation. Collation may be done manually, but what this very Electoral Act 2022 that has uncovered, what it has opened our eyes to, is that it is about a technological device. It's about electronic transmission. Now, this 47.3 says, where a smart card reader or any other technological device deployed for accreditation of voters fails to function in any unit, a fresh card reader or technology device is not deployed, the election in that unit shall be cancelled. Make I hold am there. You see, wetin I want make una for understand be say, this particular legislation from the National Assembly, it is very clear. They are talking about if that smart card reader, if BVAS have any issue to transmit or transfer any result electronically from that polling unit, that very polling unit will be cancelled and a fresh one will be done. Another election on that day will be done. So I want make we understand the thing. The people from the National Assembly that did this, so they were very particular about electronic transmission of results. So, and what we are challenging in court, aside from many other things, the process, that very process is the fact that there must be electronic transmission. If there is no electronic transmission, then there is trouble, because the act is very specific that you must transmit. They gave reasons for the collation that they were talking about. As regards the Federal High Court's ruling of court, the court said that they can decide how they want to collect. We are not saying that they cannot do how they want to collect. Yes, INEC can decide how they want to collect, but you must transmit before a collation will be had. There must be electronic transmission. If not, the hard copy is not good enough. Let me go back to the steps that I want us to view. The steps and procedure provided for in section 47 and even the 64A2 that we have discussed. The act presupposes that e-transmission is indispensable. The effectiveness of each of the steps contained therein is hinged on the assumption that the results have already been transmitted or transferred electronically from the polling unit. It is perhaps in a bid to ensure that technology is unfailing, used for the election for purposes of ensuring transparency and credibility. Now, the Act in section 47.3 provides that where the card reader and other technology device deployed for the election fails to work and no alternative has been provided, INEC should reschedule the election to ensure technology is used. Underline that word, to ensure that technology is used. It will therefore be a negation of the intentions of the Act to give or allow any interpretation of the provisions of the Clause 48C and 93 of the regulations and guidelines, which tends to deviate from these very intentions of the Act. This is why the provisions of Clause 48C and 90, the provisions of the Section 64 of the Act, it means he must give way. The two of them cannot clash. The one will be the heavy one, now be the Electoral Act, because the Electoral Act itself they tap in on from the provisions of the Electoral Act. The provisions of the clause is tapping from the Electoral Act. To the extent that the inconsistency, that is that very inconsistency, now Electoral Act now go supersede. However, there appears to be one instance which may probably justify or excuse failure of e-transmission and recourse to the procedure in clause 48 and 93 of the regulations and guidelines. Wetin be that? E get wetin e be. That is where the results manually collected and not disputed at any stage of the collation process. Meaning say we will not dispute am, another person no dispute am. Now the only place where we say manual collation fit work, that is that very manual collation be say they no transmit anything electronically and you dey collect am manually. Now except when we say we no dispute the result, everybody agree. Now the only place where we say the argument of APC and the one of INEC go fit work. So even though electronic transmission is mandatory under the Act, yet where the results are not disputed by any candidates, parties, in which case all parties and their candidates are in agreement about the version of the results collected manually, and there are no allegations of manipulation, then it will be unreasonable to rely on non-compliance with the provisions for mandatory e-transmission to invalidate the result of elections affected. This is because it must not be forgotten that the whole purpose of the provisions of mandatory electronic transmission is to prevent election result manipulation and other forms of collation, fraud during the ballot and post-ballot processes. This being the case, why should the INEC or a court of law invalidate election results that are not disputed on the grounds only that the same was not e-transmitted? This one, now question mark. Now, with this very question mark, I want just simply explain to our people, say, this thing wey be say we dey talk about on the Electoral Act, now the process where INEC fell. That very process of electronic transmission, there is no two-way, there is no going back. They keep referring us to the regulations of INEC. INEC regulations cannot supersede the Electoral Act 2022 that says clearly it must be electronically transmitted. The collation or the area collation officers or state collation officers or the national collation officers can manually weigh the options of the physical copies that are before them and go to the version that came electronically to verify. All this is what we have uncovered. There is no going back. Tinubu must be disqualified. Let's take this very particular video that I found interesting about Tinubu's disqualification. Let's take a listen to this very particular disqualified Tinubu's video as we continue.
The Presidential Election Petition Tribunal will decide whether it will allow a person with forged certificates and criminal conviction to be the president against the Constitution. If the tribunal fails to disqualify Ahmed Tinubu, despite clear evidence of forgeries and criminal conviction, and disregards the Constitution, it destroys public integrity in Nigeria. Before the tribunal is clear that a U.S. court convicted Bola Tinubu of drug offense and ordered him to forfeit a huge sum as fine. He also presented a fake certificate to INEC. The Constitution disqualifies from public office anyone convicted of a crime or who presents a fake certificate because these crimes undermine public integrity. Since 1999, a speaker, a Senate president, and a minister of finance have been removed from office because they presented fake certificates. None of these had criminal convictions. But presenting fake certificates was enough to remove them from office. Today, our country is overrun by criminality and forgery. The tribunal cannot continue to encourage crime. We cannot be a republic of fraud. Otherwise, we lose credit and reputation and become a criminal state where even judges themselves will be victims. The tribunal must disqualify Tinubu for certificate forgery and criminal conviction. It must heed the advice of the Supreme Court in Saleh versus Abba that the courts must actively fight certificate forgery and should never allow anyone who presented a fake certificate to contest election in any public office.
So with the plenty things wey be say we get for inside court, wey be say we don dey wait for judgment, we know say the court must do the right thing. We dey always talk say our eyes dey on judiciary. We dey know say our people wey be say dem dey everywhere, dem dey talk even for Twitter for different places say they no want Tinubu, and even the action wey be say e dey take for Niger Republic, dem don talk say na dialogue na dem suppose follow am. So we know say wetin we carry go tribunal say dem go give us our mandate back, because people wey be say dem vote for 25th of February, we know say na our own His Excellency Peter Obi na majority of the people vote for. With that very one, I go talk say make we even look at wetin dey happen, wey dey go on even for mainstream media, wey be say dem dey talk very much about the way wey be say Tinubu dey talk about hope, dey give hope. Say even the people wey be say dem talk say na dem vote am, dem don even begin dey reject am. We dey even hear even from mainstream media about the tweets wey be say other people wey dem dey tweet and then they talk am. And Tinubu himself to come out talk say na this very election be the most credible election wey happen for Nigeria. The thing dey vex, not be say na only me, e dey vex everybody wey dey for Nigeria, because even Yar'Adua of blessed memory, Yar'Adua, they will elect am. He know say the election wey happen, wey bring am, no dey genuine. But he come out, complete with Nigeria, say he know say that election no dey too genuine, but say he go make things correct. But him dey come out talk say the election wey be say carry and enter na the most credible in the history of Nigeria. Make we hear as even Arise take talk this very something, because you know dey sweet anybody wey be say dem go turn white to become black. Let's take a listen.
In what's trending, with reactions trailing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's first appearance at the National Executive Council meeting of the All Progressives Congress since his inauguration as president, where he adjudged the election that brought him into power as the most credible ever in the history of Nigeria, stating that those who cannot accept the result of a free and fair election do not deserve the joy of victory.
Those who cannot accept the result of a free and fair election they do not deserve the joy of victory.
Well, obviously, we all know that this is a controversial statement. Let me take some comments. This is from Chibuzo, who wrote, Yar'Adua was so sincere that the election that brought him in was flawed, and he was respected for that. He didn't come to insult Nigerians by telling us, after all, the opposition won many states and also seats in the National Assembly. Well, another Twitter user there goes, none has been free and fair since 1999, but none has been closely watched and observed either, like the just concluded one. It wasn't business as usual. If it was, everyone would have moved on already, as it used to be. INEC should prove how Tinubu won, so we can move on. It's simple. I'm sure you guys have discussed this at length. The president, while speaking about the affairs of the party, which has produced the former governor of Kanu State, Abdullahi Ganduje, as its party chairman, said the party has a responsibility to promote unity, stability, and love among members. He also acknowledged that although Nigeria is going through challenges, which he has sufficiently addressed in his broadcast, His administration is ready to re-engineer the country's economy, adding that policies that have been put in place are for the people and not to punish the people.
I brought before you the renewed hope to fulfill your dreams and the dreams of our founding fathers, to be sure that Nigeria remains the focal point of our foreign and domestic policy.
Renewed hope. A lot of people are still waiting for the renewed hope.
Yeah, renewed hope. On I don't hear renewed hopelessness when Nigerians they suffer, when Nigerians no fit even drink water, when Nigerians no even fit buy the rice will be say they common and egg will be say they common to common men, they no fit. Somebody talk say in they give hope. I don't know, they cannot be the kind of hope we say we did for this program. Because this hope where we did for this program, now hope where they are alive to recover our mandate. The one when they talk there, now the hopelessness where they for the country, when they govern. And everybody they suffer. It never reach 2 months, I be 3 months, and suffering don't full everywhere. No be this thing now we come out for. That's why I talk say today, make we for look at waiting our own incoming president talk. His Excellency Peter Obi, as him talk say waiting may happen for country today, they make them sad. Not be only about the companies who say then they come out from Nigeria and they make them sad. Now about the things we be say, if they touch on the common man, because him now every time when they think now about the common man, how the youth fit survive, how they go fit, create employment and all of that now waiting in the thing. But anyway, we know say as we come out that 25th of February, before we even go for that very voting, we know she Comrade Aisha, they get one video where we say, as him take talk for there, even before the election, the thing they take sweet me anytime where we say, I listen to them. Make we take that very one, they hold our body, we will come back, we no go take.
That hope does to you, it just rejuvenates you as if you're living again. The hope in Nigeria is just so amazing, and I just want to share these thoughts with you. There's a saying by Jim Rohn: if you want to achieve a goal, you should set a big enough goal so that in the process of achieving that goal, you become somebody worth becoming. And I'm saying to you, all Nigerians, this is the time for us to set that big goal, so that in our process of achieving that goal, we all become some people worth becoming. Peter Obi's campaign, Peter Obi's path to 2023, that should be our big goal. Yes, there are people who are telling us it can't be done. There are people who are telling us all the things that will not make it work. The answer to that is next. Let's keep going. We're setting this goal and we are not afraid to work. The difference between us and others is the fact that we are ready to put in the work, and that's what is most important. What is most important is for you to see this is what needs to be done, and for you to be able to put in your everything. And most times that's what is always missing, and we have that right now. And I tell you, this is the time for us all to work together, come together, leave all the shenanigans. Let's not focus on non-issues. Focus on one. Let us have a singularity of purpose, which is to get Peter Obi into the Aso Villa. And when he gets there, it's for us to hold him accountable, make demands on him, and ensure that he continues to work for the people. He gets in the right people, the right team, and do everything that is the best in the best interest of Nigeria. You and I can do it. It's just a little bit of one thing. Whatever you did yesterday, remember yesterday.
Yeah, so when I don't hear them, so we get hope all this while. Maybe we continue to hold on, because we know say our mandate go come back. This one, our own Comrade Aisha, even before the election myself, he don't talk say make we get His Excellency Peter Obi, then we will now hold him accountable. So that very hope now we still they bring the come every time. All this talk about Tinubu, about Niger Republic, make it no come out our eyes from the main goal wey be say na the judgment wey we dey wait to comot from court. Make we dey constantly remind ourselves about the issues wey be say we carry enter court and how we dey expect the justices to deal with that very particular issues wey we carry go give them for their table. Make we dey talk about am every day so that even the justice when dem dey see wetin we dey talk, dem go know say we know wetin this constitution dey talk, because every day I go open the constitution, I go read that very section wey be say e concern these issues. I go read the Electoral Act, how e concern e-transmission. Na from there I know say the e-transmission na mandatory e be. All these issues wey be say dem dey talk say IREV na just mirror and e no get any meaning. Na mistake dem dey make, because the people wey be say dem create that thing from National Assembly, the Electoral Act 2022, the reason why dem do am na for electronic transmission of results. Election results must be transmitted electronically. Na im be the thing. Anyway, make we see wetin dey happen for Arise. We hear say even Rufai of Arise TV, they talk this thing wey be say Tinubu dey talk say e no gel at all, because na the same thing we dey talk here, but we don dey see other people wey be say dem dey condemn this thing wey in dey talk say Nigeria dey okay, say people dey, say hope dey and all of that. Na insult in dey insult us. Even when im talk say the election dey credible, say na the most credible election in Nigeria is, e dey insult the Nigerians. I no know how you feel, but you fit make your comment for comment section, and like also at the same time, because as our principal dey sad today for wetin dey happen for Nigeria, wetin we fit do na make we like and share so that other people go see the tweet wey im tweet, so that dem go im page and like. Let's take a listen from Arise, Rufai of Arise TV.
Tinubu said, yes, he will say his election was clean, was the best ever, and all of that. But there are also other opinions about the election. Most of the Western media in the first week after the election said the elections were flawed. I think the Financial Times reported Nigeria's flawed elections. And we can't deny the fact. The BBC also reported how some of the press was flawed. The BBC did an extensive report even about the Obiakpo results in Rivers. Also, EU reports also said a lot about our elections. So that's another point of view. And I get that tweet. That tweet was Umar Musa Yar'Adua's reaction to his own election in 2007.
Yes.
And he said he believes the elections that brought him are flawed with irregularities. And he took decisions how we got the Ways panel report. That's a man of dignity. That's a man of strength. And give him his tribute. But President Bola Tinubu saying, my elections were clean and clear. The case is still in court.
Yeah, that's why it's in court.
And the court will decide.
Absolutely.
And whatever the court will decide, we'll take on that.
All right.
Supporting some of his policies, saying that, yeah, he wants his policies to, make things better for us. The truth is, the jury is also out on that. Another great example is the announcement he made, which he has finally come out to confirm that he didn't plan. In fact, his aides told him, do not announce subsidy removal yet, but he said it's gone himself. Also, his forex policy that you did not get something to defend the Naira before you decided on a managed float, which is a mixture of a fixed peg and a pure float.
Absolutely.
Which you need something to defend your currency because we are a highly dollarized economy.
Right.
So a lot of people have seen that and have said, you put out some policies, but did we also think it through? Did we also look at the repercussions? Because now it's biting hard on people and all of that.
You're absolutely right.
So there are many sides to the story.
Talking about.
So when we hear say Tinubu, they talk about the credibility of the election we carry and put for Aso Rock, the thing not be saying that only us where they hear the verse. It dey vex Nigerians too. And everybody will be say they for this hardship where he put us inside. And notwithstanding the hardship, he won't begin to go fight our neighbors where we say they get their own issue. Where we say our own issues plenty for here. He won't enter another one. Anyway, wetin I want tell our people as we dey round up to come out for studio, make them for know say this election na Peter Obi na win am, and we dey wait for our mandate. And we dey wait for court to give that very mandate clear as e suppose be. Make I remind on again, say Electoral Act 2022 dey very clear, say electronic transmission of polling unit results is mandatory. It is mandatory. The one where they talk about collation being manual, no disputes. But that very law that came from the National Assembly supersedes the regulations of INEC. INEC regulations is saying that it's going to be electronically transmitted, the same thing. They went in Chatham House, they went all over the media houses, and they said they are going to polling unit by polling unit transmission. And that very transmission directly was not done. That is a clear violation of the process of the Electoral Act. There's no going back to it. So I need us to really understand these facts. With that very one, I go say, as our principal again talk say in the sad today, because of waiting to happen for Nigeria, I dey talk say, make we like and share this video. Make it reach other people. Make them go also visit in a Twitter page. Make them see other comments where they come out from obedience. Or maybe for like and share this video so that anybody will be saying they watch them, Ingo no say PO talk today and they talk say he no dey too happy, but he no fit talk everything for inside there. So make we take that one. With that one, I go talk say I go come begin the carry come out for here until tomorrow. I go bring us hope where we say he dey very keen on getting our mandate back. No be renewed hopelessness where Tinubu dey give the Agbado people. Until then, blessings. And we'll go see again that tomorrow. Bye for now.